Hey, and happy Thanksgiving Eve to everybody. Welcome to the Claim Jumper in La Mesa. Chris Ello along with the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, Brady Hoke. Time for the Aztec Coaches Show. And, well, it's going to be our final get-together for 2010 as you guys get ready, Coach, for the regular season finale Saturday against UNLV. You going to miss me on Wednesday nights?
Yeah, I will. I definitely will.
Well, we're going to go out with a bang tonight here at the Claim Jumper. Nice crowd out here tonight. I thought, hey, Thanksgiving Eve, you know, we might have a lot of people with their families getting ready, but heck no. We got one more Aztec game to get ready for on Saturday. And we'll talk about that, and, of course, we'll have some questions for the coach and all of the good stuff throughout the show. You know the Claim Jumper here. The thing you may not know about Claim Jumper, if you're listening, salad, turkeys, the whole deal, homemade stuffing, potatoes, pie. Everybody here, you can just take the whole Claim Jumper thing, order your whole Thanksgiving dinner here tonight,
there you go,
and then take it home tomorrow. So keep in mind, Claim Jumper will take care of you for Thanksgiving. We'll take care of you for the next hour here along with the coach. Brady Hoke. Coach, let's go back here before we get to the UNLV game and some of the other things. I still have a couple of unresolved issues myself from the end of the Utah game. Utah over San Diego State in really a thrilling game, exciting game, 38-34 on Saturday night. But I want to start with the last play of the whole game, or really the last significant play of the whole game. And that was a play where Ryan Lindley throws the ball into the end zone, headed for Vincent Brown, and to me that was a touchdown. I mean, you've been asked about this play and why did you call that? And I've been getting emails all week from people. Why did they throw deep? They've been moving down the field, and what happened there? I don't know that everybody really understands what took place on that entire play. You guys had them set up, and you had Vincent Brown crossing in the end zone. He was 5-10 yards in the clear, and to me that would have been a touchdown. Except for the fact Ryan Lindley got hit in the face when he threw the ball. And I know we're a little bit beyond this, crying over spilt milk. Look, we had the Missouri call. We had the controversy in BYU, and you can't take this back. But to me, if Ryan Lindley doesn't get basically slugged in the face as he's throwing that pass, that's a touchdown. You guys might win the football game. So, again, let's go back to that and how you kind of deal with that, going forward, or not going forward, but what took place after?
Well, it was a tremendous play. I mean, it really was. It was set up. It had been set up the series before, the route concept, and Al made a great call. He put another tag on the route that their safety was really flying over the top, and especially with Vince and DeMarco in proximity. And it was a great move. And really, I think what happened is, besides what you're talking about, Ryan had to move a little bit in the pocket. He had a little bit of pressure and moved up. And if he doesn't have to move up as much as he did, or move out and up, I should say, that ball's probably thrown one click faster, and he probably would have been still open, like you said. But it was the right call. And, the officials, they make a lot of judgment calls, and I guess in their judgment, which is something that we really, have a high regard for, it was one of those things where it wasn't called.
So the way it was explained to you, though, if there was an explanation, was that the officials saw that and determined that was not an illegal hit, as opposed to they just didn't see it.
Well, no.
They saw it, and they didn't think that was an illegal hit.
Referee, I mean, his eyes are on the quarterback the whole time. I mean, that's –
wow. Okay.
Pardon me. In this day and age, they're going to protect those guys. They're supposed to protect
Evidently,
them.
They're not.
Well,
I mean,
in this case, I don't know if they did, know. Right. And the only thing I can tell you is Ryan did a great job, and he's played great for us this year. And, obviously when you play that position – everyone looks at what that position does, and I tell you, he has grown in this offense. You got 2 1,000-yard receivers, and the ball's just not falling out of the sky to him. So obviously he's doing a hell of a job.
All right, well, okay, there's the answer. I mean, I'm not going to sleep any better. It's another controversial deal, at the end of a football game. But beside that, there are a lot of other things that took place, and I know as a head coach and as a program moving forward, you're not going to sit there and look at one call. You're going to look at a lot of the other things that happen in that game. Your quarterback throws for 528. Vincent Brown, DeMarco Sampson are unbelievable. You guys put numbers up on the board all night long. But I think that maybe the one thing that you look back on that game and you say, wow, in our defense, one thing I think you guys all year really haven't given up a lot of big plays. You know, you're giving up some points, giving up some yards, but not a lot of big plays. And then that jumped up the other night. I mean, Utah hit you guys with some big plays, and maybe ultimately that's why they hung in the game and end up winning the game.
Well, there's 6 to 8 plays in a game that you have to execute, and if you don't, and you're playing a comparable opponent, you're not going to win. And on Sunday, after we watched the tape and we met with the kids, Rocky flat out told the defense that we did nothing to help us win that football game, and we didn't. And as a defensive coach and the guy who likes games that go 3-2 and that kind of thing, we didn't. We played as bad as you can. We didn't make plays when we had the opportunity. We didn't play with a fanaticism that you need to play defense with. And so, we've got a lot that we're thankful that we're playing this Saturday, because we have to play a heck of a lot better on that side of the ball. And I think our kids will respond, and they will.
I think this is a tough question, and I don't know if there's probably not an easy answer to it. But this season, a 7-4 season, has been great in so many ways. I mean, for so many of these Aztec fans here, right? I mean, we've been watching 3-win seasons and 4-win seasons, and to go 7-4 and know we're going to a bowl game, man, it's fantastic. But we're still a little frustrated because the 4 losses, every single one of these losses have been gut-wrenching in a certain extent.
Right.
Is that, in the long run, good for a football program to go through some gut-wrenching deals where you can get to the point where you're telling your kids, guys, we're this close. We just got to, cross some T's and dot some I's, and we can start winning some of these?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I mean, I think we've been a team that, at times we play pretty good football in every case, offense, defense, kicking game. And then we've also been a team at times that have been a little erratic, maybe running the football, or a little erratic stopping the run. And I think you learn every time you go out. I think our kids learn every time they go out. And I think, as you play those type of games, you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about, maybe I do have to be a more aggressive on how I'm going to cover this receiver. And I use that for an example, or how I'm going to double on a one shade, or whatever it might be. So I think our kids have learned. I think we've got a great staff of guys who coach the game and coach the fundamentals and coach the technique. And, we constantly are talking about the mentality that we want to play with and all those things that go into it. So, we're not happy because we didn't win the conference championship, but those 17 seniors that we're going to honor on Saturday night have done a tremendous job in taking a foundation that was laid a year ago and moving the bar up and the expectations up. And, I'm glad people are frustrated, because I'll be honest with you, I get tired of hearing, oh, you guys played well. Boy, that was good. Bull crap. I mean, you play to win the freaking football game. And our job is to go out there and compete, and our job is to go out there, compete, and win.
So when it gets to Monday morning and you've looked at the film on Sunday and now you turn the page to Vegas, do you guys I know you've talked about this all year and you've said, okay, Monday we turn the page. Do you see any leftover frustration from Sunday, and would that be a good thing to have any leftover frustration after another tough loss, or no?
I'll tell you this. I hope that from a defensive perspective that they're ticked off, and how they represented themselves in that defense in San Diego State football. And but at the same time, I thought we've really had two of the better practices, especially on the defensive side of the ball, when you look at the energy level and the guys flying around and being physical than we have all year. So, you have to get by it and you have to get past it. But at the same time, I think I'll probably remind them of how they played before we go out Saturday.
A gentle reminder.
Yeah,
I'm sure to be just a little gentle
It'd be a
reminder.
Note,
little note. Okay,
yeah.
there he is, Coach Brady Hoke. All right, the Utah game is in the bank. 7-4, people. Let me be honest. If we were sitting here before the opener, and I said when we go to the final game of the season against Vegas, we'll be 7-4. I think we would have taken that. I know he wants to be 10-1, 11-0. 7-4 is not too shabby. We'll talk about the finale coming up against UNLV. Coach, I don't know if you noticed your name was in the newspaper today. We'll ask you about that when we come back as well. It is the Aztec Coaches Show. Chris Ello along with the Coach Brady Hoke. We are really thrilled that you guys all came out here tonight on Thanksgiving Eve to the Claim Jumper. I think it says a lot about this Aztec team, the Aztec programs, and you Aztec fans. We got more coming with the Coach Brady Hoke from Learfield Sports. And come back, Claim Jumper, Grossmont Center in La Mesa, the Aztec Coaches Show. Chris Ello along with the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, Brady Hoke. We got UNLV coming up on Saturday night. We'll talk about that game with the coach. We'll also give you guys a chance for some questions. I have a feeling that most of you probably have the same question, or at least are thinking about it. So, Coach, let me just go ahead and ask you about it, and then that way we can move along here tonight, because you got a game Saturday, you got a bowl game coming up, and your focus is San Diego State. But the good news, people, is we got a good team this year, and we got a really good coach, and so – hey, there's going to be some people that are talking to you a little bit. Just give us a little update, what happened, where things are, so everybody can feel comfortable and we can all enjoy our Thanksgiving dinner and weekend, knowing that you're going to be staying with us, at least for the weekend here.
You know, no, seriously, and like I said in the paper, you know, I talked to a school that has an opening that they instigated, and it was a very informal conversation, I can tell you that. And you know, our plans are to build a program here, and you know, I think we've got that started and going in the right direction, and to be part of that. You know, I met with the team this morning, and we meet early on Wednesdays, and you know, I told them the same thing. I mean, this is what Chris Peterson and Gary Patterson every year. They get these same kind of things. And really, to be honest with you, you know, it's flattering and all that, but our focus is on what we have to do. We've got 17 seniors. We play UNLV, and that's the way we look at it.
Yeah, I've been, you know, look, I've been having people coming up to me all year, honestly, or emailing me during the radio shows and saying, you know, Coach Hoke and everything, you guys are having such a great year. You know, there's going to be other schools that may eventually be interested in Coach Hoke. And I said, well, that's good, right? I mean, because he's a good coach, right? I mean, that's not a terrible thing. I mean, that's the world of college football, and you're going to talk to some people, and people are going to want to talk to you. But right now, this is it. Red and black,
yeah,
Aztecs,
no
UNLV, Saturday night,
that's right.
Poinsettia Bowl. And let me, one more time, in case you weren't sure, I'll introduce you to the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, Brady Hoke. All right? So we got that settled. All right, we got that settled. I did talk to the head coach of UNLV, though, on my show today, Bobby Hoke. I like him. He's a cool dude. And he's got a, you know, look, he's starting kind of maybe where you started last year with UNLV. It's and he's a coach that I bet you have a lot of respect for. I don't know how much you guys know about Coach Hoke of UNLV, but Montana was where he was for, 9-10 years, and they were winning the Division I AA championship like every single year. So he knows what he's doing, and I imagine as you look at this team on tape, you're seeing a lot of stuff that probably has you worried.
Well, you know, I getting back to Bobby. Bobby I've known, probably 14 years, you know, in recruiting and everything else. And I think he's number one, a tremendous person. And secondly, I think he's a tremendous football coach. And you don't do the things what they did, that staff at Montana, if you're not organized, if you're not teaching technique and fundamentals, and if you're not motivating young men, you know, from an academic to an athletic to the social things that are important. And you can see, you know, the last 4 games, you can see his team taking more of his personality on. Their improvement has been something, you know, they played Air Force, and that was a tight ball game for a long time, and they were playing physical, and they did a tremendous job. And, you know, I think we'll have a challenge in our hands. I mean, I think that's for us. I think that's always part of it, and we'll have our work cut out for us.
I think that's something too. When you get to a final game of a season like this, at least for them, it's definitely the final game, and you guys are going to.
They play Hawaii.
I beg your pardon. Thank you. That's right. They play Hawaii the following week. But your final regular season game, they're coming right down to the end. In the NFL, you get down to the end like this, and you can look at games and you can say, well, you know what, this is a bit of a throwaway game, or they're just playing out the string. There's no such thing in college football. There just really, truly isn't, because these kids only have so many games. I mean, there's a bunch of seniors on UNLV who have 2 games left in their entire lives.
Right.
So you know, and I know you tell your team, you can't go into this game and look at their record and say, well, they're 4-7 or whatever they are, and go, well, they're probably going to cash it in, because college football teams don't do that.
Right.
I mean, you got to show up and play no matter what.
Well, you do, and on any given Saturday, things can happen, and you watch, and you said it, Chris. I mean, they got guys who have a lot of pride. I think he's done a great job of them really taking his personality. He's an aggressive guy, and they're aggressive as a team. I mean, they're a physical offensive bunch. They want to run the power, and they're going to be in some 2-back and some spread. And the quarterback Clayton is a guy who beat us last year. I mean, he got after us pretty good up there last year, and so and they've got good young kids. They've got good kids who are good athletes on the offensive side, and on defense, they're a big 4-3 front, and they're a physical front, and their linebackers are guys who really understand about how you put your face on somebody, and so like I said, it's going to be a game for us that we got to make sure we're prepared.
Well, I said they were 4-7. They're 2-9, but I think they seem a lot more like a 4-7, 5-6. You look at this schedule. Wisconsin, they played.
Right.
They played Utah, of course, and TCU and BYU and everybody else. They also played Nevada, another top 25 team. So they played 5 or 6 teams in the top 25 this year. So, and they beat you last year. I mean,
right.
just that in itself, is enough to say, hey, guys, let's go out and make sure we take care of business this time around.
Right. Well, I don't think there's any doubt. And, our kids have done a tremendous job. We had a great Sunday. I really thought we did. And then Monday, is their day off, but a lot of them are in there studying the opponent, looking at tape and all that kind of stuff. And I think that goes a long way. And, the one thing on Sundays, it gives me a barometer for our team. And really, there's 2 things. They lift at 1, 2, and 3, and I always ask Coach Wellman how were they in the weight room. If they win, you want them focused and not too cocky or arrogant or whatever. But you want them to feel confident in who they are. And if we get beat, there better be some humbleness and some drive and those things. And they've done a great job all year with that, and how we've responded. I'm proud of them, and I give the credit really to the seniors and how they've handled this team.
Well, and that's really what Saturday night is all about. I think when you're part of a program and you're coaching these kids, we just look at the wins and the losses and all of that stuff, and that's what we do as fans. But when you're coach and you're running a program and you get to the final game of a regular season, I think you can't help it, but you do start thinking about your seniors. I mean, the Andrew Prestons and the Vincent Browns and the DeMarco Sampsons, because not only, it's the last time we're going to get to see – well, we're going to maybe get lucky and get to see them again if we go to the Poinsettia Bowl, which is kind of a bonus for us, but we're going to get to see them for the last time. But you know everything that they put in, in your case
Sure.
for 2 years. But the seniors are the guys that have been there the longest, doing the most work for the most amount of time, and that's why – it is important to focus on them a little bit in this game.
Well, and since I've been a head coach, we've always played for our seniors and coach for our seniors. They're the ones who have been through the struggles, 4 years of spring ball, 4 years of summer conditioning, winter conditioning. 4 years of getting their butts chewed when they need it and slapped on the butt when they do the right thing. But that's part of it in the maturity level, and they understand there's a high expectation because they are a senior. So, that's all part of it. And it also is a message to the young guys that sometime they're going to be sitting in that front row where those seniors sit. And, all the seniors, they'll tell those freshmen, and the freshmen basically aren't the smartest guys on the team because they don't realize how fast that time goes. And, I mean, it goes so quickly, and our seniors always relay that to don't take it for granted.
Well, I tell you one thing, we got a good senior class, but it's, there's some good players there. The good news is we don't have that many seniors. That means most of our kids are coming back next year, so that's good news. All right, Coach Brady Hoke here. Got some questions out there for the coach. We'll give you the opportunity when we come back. We're at the Claim Jumper, Grossmont Center, La Mesa. It is our weekly Wednesday night Aztec Coaches Show, along with Brady Hoke, Chris Ello, Learfield Sports, and AM 600 in La Mesa. Chris Ello along with the coach right there, Mr. Brady Hoke. Aztecs and UNLV coming up this Saturday night. Remember, it's a 5 o'clock start at Qualcomm Stadium. That means the Wells Fargo Aztec Village opens at 3 o'clock, 2 hours prior to game time. And just a quick trivia to everybody here at Claim Jumper. What happens at 2:45 on Saturday? I can barely hear you people. Come on, people, get with it. It's the final game of the season. That's right, the Aztec Warrior Walk. Get out there and salute these kids as they come into the stadium for the game. And especially, like you said, Coach, how about saluting the seniors who will be coming out for their final regular season game on Saturday night against the UNLV Running Rebels. Our final Claim Jumper appearance of the year. And, Coach, it's been a lot of fun. And I tell you one thing, I'm excited that we've gotten to this point now. And I don't know, 8-4 just seems that's better than 7-5, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, it seems like it's one game, but it seems like a whole big deal, and winning this one on Saturday and, wrapping up on a thumbs-up deal.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a huge deal. And we've kind of beat it into the ground. But, at the Warrior Walk, our seniors are out front. They lead us. Spirited. And the other part of it is, we want to win for them. We want to win for them. And, we're going to be fortunate enough to play another one. But this is all about them and honoring them and their loved ones who can be there, so we're excited about it.
All right, 5 o'clock Saturday night. Don't forget, I don't need to tell any of you people that Claim Jumper because I know you guys are all going to be at the game. But if you can't make it, it'll be right here on AM 600 Kogo, pregame at 4 o'clock. All right, let's get a couple of questions here in the crowd at the Claim Jumper for the head coach, Mr. Hoke. Yes, sir.
I had a two-part question for you, Coach. Number one, what kind of advanced scouting happens when you have an opponent coming up, number one? And number two, you've had an extremely successful year, and your recruiting season is either underway or about ready to get underway. What kind of positive effects have you been seeing, or when would you expect to see some positive effects out of a positive season for you?
And those are two really good questions. Number one, as far as the advanced scouting that we get, we have an agreement with all the league schools that we get every game they've played. And we can go as far back as a year ago. And with a guy like Bobby coming into the league from Montana, so the film from UNLV a year ago really doesn't help you much. But, being game 12, we've gotten all those films. And last spring we were looking at Montana film, to get a start on what they want to do offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game. The recruiting part of it, our recruiting has gone very well. We have a number of commitments right now that we are holding in there with and hanging on to, and I'm sure a couple of those kids, somebody will try and come in and poach and do that. But, that part of it's gone well, and I think it does when you do have more success. I think it just gets you into more doors.
I have a little question to follow that up, but thanks. That was a good question. We'll move around to some more here in a minute just to follow it up. But just maybe in general, Coach, when you first got to San Diego State and you were, coming off of a team that was 2-10 and you were a brand new coach and staff, what kind of responses are you seeing in different, what kind of different responses are you seeing now when you go after kids now that you're, 7-4 and a couple of years in? Or is there a noticeable difference, I guess?
I think the one thing, and this is where we're awfully fortunate, and I'm very fortunate, the staff that I have and how hard those guys work at recruiting and, the evaluations and the system we use. And it's a thought-out process. It's a process that I think really fits, when you look at what we want in the profile of a guy, the character he has, where he fits in on your board or whatever you want to call it. And I think, our coaches have done a great job since day one of getting into, let's just take San Diego County, getting into San Diego County and doing a tremendous job of communicating and cultivating and those kind of things. So, I think it helps, Chris, obviously what you're saying, but, today I got a call from Detroit, Michigan, head coach Thomas Wilshire from Cass Tech. He's got some kids, and they've been able to see us play, and, and Thomas always has players. He was a great back at Michigan, but, we get those kind of calls on a more regular basis now.
Nice to hear that. All right, a couple more questions for the coach. Brady Hoke here at the Claim Jumper. Yes, Larry, how are you?
No question. Just a comment. Your leadership, your great coaching staff, and these wonderful players that you've put together, I want to congratulate all of you on you being wined and dined national. We knew that when you turn a program around like that you were going to get offers. And then this morning's paper, it was still a shock to most of us out there that I knew it was going to happen, but it's a credit to your leadership, to your staff and those players that have put together this in 2 years. Us red and black alumni have waited years for this. Just one word of advice.
Yeah.
Look in the future.
Right.
I really see with the recruiting and so on that Chris mentioned is going to pick up.
Right.
You're going to be a dominant factor in this Mountain West. And that's a credit to this toughness, this honesty, and this really closeness that you brought to us, the alumni, and you bring to your players. Well done, Brady Hoke.
Well, thank you. We've those kids have done a great job in the transition and understanding how we want to do things and the expectations. And the other, the most important part is, we have a great staff, and even better than that, the wives of the guys who are on the staff. And that's an important part. I can tell you that their commitment level to the work ethic and everything that their husbands do, because there's so many sacrifices because of the time commitment and all those things. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say something and thank them for everything. But thanks, Larry.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. That was really neat. I've known Larry for like 20 years. He's never said anything even half that nice to me or anything close. Just kidding. All right, let's a couple more questions. Yes, for the coach.
Yes. See, I'm already looking towards next year, and we're losing our seniors, DeMarco Sampson, Vincent Brown. Who do we have coming up? That's one question. My other question is, where else but in San Diego could you wear shorts in November?
Yeah.
Certainly not Minnesota.
Oh, wait, did you say that? All right.
Well, you may be shocked, but I always wear shorts.
I think he does,
so,
yeah.
Even back in the Midwest.
I think I saw him in Laramie in the snow. He had his shorts on. Anyway, but that's a good one on the wide receivers, because you're going to – unfortunately, we're going to lose two really, really awesome ones after this year.
Right. Well, and I think, there's two young kids. Well, Nico is really coming into his own a little bit, Sanford, and he's doing a good job, and he's learning more, and he's becoming more of a polished wide receiver. Dylan Denzo, who's played on special teams and played a little bit. Marcus Russell, who's playing on special teams more and more, are guys who we think have some ability. And then we've got 2 guys who are freshmen. Ezell Ruffin is a special athlete, and he's one of those guys who, as he matures, because always with freshmen, it's more the mental maturity that you have to work with. But as he continues to grow, I expect a lot from him. And then we have another freshman named Jay Waddell. And I can tell you, both of those guys out of practice, they drive us crazy on defense because they both have very good speed. They both have very good hands, and they're different. And it's kind of the difference, a little bit like VJ, Vincent, and DeMarco, and they're both very capable young men.
Not only that, just as before we, in case Ryan Lindley starts tossing and turning, because he's going to not have Vincent Brown, DeMarco next year, going to have that Escobar kid. Yeah, for a couple more years at tight end. Does anybody think he's a decent player? I'll tell you one thing, man. This kid, and it's interesting. I brought this up on one of the broadcasts. His coach is Dan Ferrigno, right? The tight ends coach. Dan Ferrigno was at Cal when there was a tight end up there by the name of Tony Gonzalez. And I don't want to, that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. He's a freshman, Escobar, but the size that Escobar has and the glue in the hands, I think he's got a pretty good coach he's working with, and he's going to be good. He's already good. He's going to be real good.
He's a young guy who's got a lot of ability, and he really, as he continues physically to mature, he's just going to get better and better. And the other guy who's really been playing a lot of football as a true freshman is Bryce Quigley. Yeah, and they're really a different kind of tight end because Bryce is about 255, 260, and he's a physical guy, and where Gavin's maybe a little bit more, finesse, which I really don't like finesse. Yeah, right. But he's a little more of a finesse kind of guy, but he's a tremendous athlete.
I didn't think that word was in your vocabulary, actually, finesse. That's one I wasn't expecting.
Mike May taught me that word.
That's a Mike May word. All right, we got like 30 seconds in this break, so the last question here. Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Zach.
If you don't want to spoil anything, because I see Mr. Josefa's back there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no question.
But what do you tell those seniors? Well, normally this isn't their last game, but normally it is. What do you tell those seniors? Because in our family, Aunt Teresa, my mom, my dad, and my Uncle Hector is definitely watching.
Right.
All your players, especially the seniors, are big discussion points. What do you tell them when it's their last game?
Wait a minute. Can you host the show from now on? That was a way better question than any of the questions I ever asked you.
Well, I'll tell you, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But, you just talk about, and what I tell them is how grateful that I am personally for everything that they've done and how they've the expectations, and hopefully we've given them as much as they've given us.
There you have it. Traskey, Asefa, and all of the seniors going to be playing their final home game regular season Saturday night against UNLV, 5 o'clock. We'll come back to the Claim Jumper, Grossmont Center in La Mesa, wrap things up with a head coach Brady Hoke on Learfield Sports and AM 600 at Kogo. Good questions all year long, people. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you. Center in La Mesa wrapping things up. Our final coaches show of the year, and before we get back to the Coach Brady Hoke, we want to congratulate our California Bank and Trust Student Athlete of the Week, Aztec basketball player Billy White, career high 30 points. Aztecs knock off number 11 Gonzaga last week. Don't know if anybody's aware, but Steve Fisher's team is 5-0 and ranked number 18 in the country. Congratulations to Billy White, our California Bank and Trust Student Athlete of the Week. I know you don't have time for anything else, but I know that you have probably taken notice of the kind of start they've gotten off to, and that's pretty sweet.
Well, I was trying to get Billy to come out, and honestly,
no, couldn't. Can we do an alley-oop in the corner
That's
or something?
Exactly it. I think that would be perfect. And
Man.
Fish isn't real happy when I asked the young man
Fisher
to do
wasn't
that.
willing to do that?
Which I don't blame him. I mean, he's a tremendous coach. He's got a great team, and those kids, they're going to do well.
Yeah, it's a great start to the season. We want to remind you Aztec fans that are here and listening that this is our last Coaches Show with Brady Hoke, but starting next Thursday night at 7 o'clock, it'll be the beginning of the Aztec Coaches Show with Steve Fisher. So that starts next Thursday night right here on AM 600 Kogo. All right, Coach, you got UNLV Saturday night. I know that's your focus, but you probably got a little bowl game after that. Tell us kind of what all that means. I mean, getting to go to a bowl game, we haven't been to one around here in a long time, so it means an extra 3 weeks of working with your guys is one of the big things about going to a bowl game, isn't it?
Yeah, you get 15 days, and you get 15 days for those young kids, that aren't playing, but they're giving you a look team and all that, and it really helps you develop those guys. And so it's an important part of, obviously we're very grateful to be able to play another game, but those 15 days will go a long way. But, before we get the cart before the horse, we've got to take care of business for our seniors on Saturday night.
Yeah, well, I had to ask you now about that because I knew I wouldn't get another chance to ask you. But
right.
I knew you would only want to talk about UNLV and the Runnin' Rebs. Just a couple of last things here. I wanted to ask you Ryan Lindley, because there was a story today in the paper about people saying, well, he's made some great plays. He's made some interceptions, and some people saying, well, it's a thumbs up, or I don't know. Do people not quite understand the fact that you run an offense where you average more yards per completion than any team in the nation, and that if you're going to throw the ball 20, 25 yards downfield like that, yeah, there's going to be some ups, and there's going to be some risk and reward, is my point. It's not a dink and dunk offense. Right. So I'm surprised that there's some people that are looking at Ryan and saying, well, he's made mistakes, et cetera. I don't think you guys see it that way.
No, I wouldn't want any other quarterback than what we have. I can tell you that right now. I mean, believe me, there's critics out there everywhere, and until they step into the fire, until they really know, I don't pay much attention to it, and I don't think either does Ryan. So, and it gives conversation for people, and I guess people like to talk about those things. And
the good news is, Coach, we've gone into the final game of the regular season for maybe the last 7 or 8 years, and I don't know that people have cared enough to talk so much about Ryan Lindley and all of the things. This year, we all care. We thank all of you people all year long that have been coming out to the Claim Jumper in La Mesa for the Aztec Coaches Show. Thanks again. Ray tonight, Mitch, Nick back in the studio, Lindsay taking care of us all year here. Coach, I want to thank you just for coming out and hanging with us all year. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, Chris,
I hope I haven't bored you too much.
Nope, it's been great, and I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
Thanks a lot to everybody. We'll see everybody out there Saturday night for the regular season finale, 5 o'clock against UNLV. The San Diego State Coaches Show from Claim Jumper, Learfield Sports, and AM 600. Good night.